Hi there. Today I want to talk about joint tenancy and why it's not a good substitute for proper estate planning. Let's start with the definition. Joint tenancy is a way of owning property among two or more people that allows the ownership to transfer to the survivors when one of them dies. The main benefit of joint tenancy, otherwise known as joint tenancy with right of survivorship, is that transfers of ownership at death can be done without having to go through probate, which is time-consuming and expensive. One area you often see this in is when parents add a child as a joint tenant to the family home. They do this because they're usually given some poor advice about how that's an effective way to avoid probate at the time of their deaths, and it allows a transfer of the home to their child. But there are some consequences of doing this that they need to be aware of. I'll go over them next. The first is losing control over the property. When you add a joint tenant to property that you own, you're literally giving them ownership of a portion of that property. That means that they are free to do with their portion whatever they want, which ultimately means that you're losing control over a part of it. Next are creditors. When you add a joint tenant to your property, you make your property subject to the creditors of that joint tenant. That means that if the joint tenant has any creditors, they could potentially put a lien on your property, even though all you intended to do was allow them to have ownership of it after you passed away. Finally, there may be gift tax consequences to adding a joint tenant to your property. When you add someone as a joint tenant, you're making a gift to them of a portion of the property, and depending on your situation, there may be a taxable gift as a result of your transfer of ownership. To avoid the problems associated with using joint tenancy, I recommend a living trust. Using a living trust allows you to have all the benefits of being able to transfer your property to your beneficiaries at the time of your death without the negative consequences during your lifetime of using joint tenancy. That is, giving up control of the property and subjecting your property to creditors. Remember, joint tenancy is not a good substitute for proper estate planning, and there are often better ways to accomplish your goals than to use that as your primary planning device. Thank you.